4, 3.
We'll do it live!
Now we're live! Erin Kennedy. The general craziness of it, the impact on your life.
We have gone through so many stories and we said, you know what? This should not be kept to the two of us.
Do you still have that dress? That brown dress? It's so cute.
It's like navy. Oh,
What?
in the picture. Yeah.
In the picture.
Yeah.
I don't think
to be honest, you know what's funny? So that was after Elliot was born. So 1 out of 3 babies. I think my ribs got bigger between my 2 babies. I don't know if that dress still fits me.
Mine doesn't. That pink one I was going to tell you, and I think I'd probably had my kids back then, so God knows what happened to me. But like, but
had your kids. Yeah,
it's right here across like your cage. It's not even like it's not fat. It's a rib.
Yeah, rib is like middle age spread now that your ribs get wider.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Never say those words to me again.
I know. It even sounds gross. How are you though? Happy Friday. Do you have any plans for Mother's Day coming up?
Oh no, not really. We have a soccer game in Bloomington, Indiana. So
is that what you want to do with your Mother's Day?
I mean, it is the most representative of my mothering experience. So I guess in that way,
dragging yourself to somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So Lance and I decided to switch mothers and fathers this year because he's actually he's got something that he needs to do that weekend. We didn't even realize it was Mother's Day because I'm not hyper focused on that stuff ever. And then I was like, wait, it's Mother's Day. And then I thought, I should be mad at you because you're going to go do this. But then I thought, but I don't really care. So we just decided to flip flop the Mother's and Father's Day this year because he's already doing something he wanted that weekend. I'll take the soccer route and then I'll take Father's Day. It's got better weather usually anyway.
I know. All right. Well, tell Lance happy Father's Day then next weekend.
I will. What are you doing?
Actually, my parents are coming out. I don't think we have any hardcore plans though. So I'm just hoping for nicer weather. We finally have better weather out here.
This is what you get for moving to Minnesota.
It's true. 5th, and it came out to the 5th snowiest winter here on record.
Ugh. Like it's finally sunny here. I think we're out of the woods now in terms of like having those setbacks where it's like fake spring. We had a fake spring in April that was really painful because it was 80 degrees for like a week and you feel like you're there. Now I knew we weren't there. And then when it went back to snowing and gross, it's just that much more difficult though, I think.
Yeah. The weekend after Easter, we had 2 days of nice. And then the next day it snowed and I cried.
Yeah. Yes, Erin. Did you really cry?
No, but I felt very sad.
Like
and everybody in our house, even the kids, their fuses were like this.
Because I think it's just you can't do anything. It's not comfortable to be outside. Being outside is so critical to like being healthy, getting fresh air, getting vitamin D, being able to do things, run around. Like we're not meant to be cooped up like this, you know? I could go into a whole diatribe on that. We will save it for another day though. Because it would take forever.
We do it now. Vitamin D.
It's important. Yeah.
So we just wanted to chat real quick because you and I were bouncing ideas off of each other because now that we're both in the professional world, we are being solicited by regular Joe Schmoes about how to present on camera, how to be an effective public speaker, how to communicate effectively. And it's interesting because I mean, we were in the industry for so long, it's kind of second nature to us. But when you drill down into it, there are some real specifics where like we can look at something immediately and be like, dude, this. And people are like, oh, yeah.
It's not hard stuff. And it's funny because I did like a simple little, we posted it on our YouTube shorts, like just a simple little couple tips about public speaking. And those came about just because my daughter Willow has to give a speech in Indianapolis and she was like wanting to run it by me. And so I just thought, oh, let me share these with everybody else. I was astounded because I felt like they were very like, duh, like I was just saying some things and I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But then in hindsight now with the reactions that I've had and the questions that I've gotten, I'm realizing, oh, hold up. Like this is stuff that we know that other people, I guess, don't.
And how would they know? Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I feel like we know it because, well, we watched our mistakes for so long, right? In your
Yes.
early years. And
Yes.
as soon as you watch yourself on camera and you're like, oh, gee, why was I doing that? I should do this instead. Then you can compare apples to apples,
Yeah.
and see which is more effective.
And
Yeah.
that is the thing. And I don't like to watch myself on camera, like watch it back usually. I was never one of those people who would go home and like watch my weathercast and see what I did wrong and things like that. But you see it enough, just little things that are recorded that play later and or you're reviewing something or whatever it may be. You see yourself enough that you do get that feedback and
Mhm.
having to take that step to watch yourself does make a difference. But then
Mhm.
you're right, you just learn stuff as you go, I
So
think.
still now, I can either watch myself, I mute it, or I listen to it and don't watch it. Because doing the two things at once are like overwhelming. And I'm like, no, I can't.
I never like to watch myself
Well, but
ever.
see, but it's important, right? Because you still need to
Mm,
learn, are you communicating effectively with your eyes? Are you gesturing appropriately, looking
yeah.
away appropriately, making eye contact appropriately? So to me, if you mute it and can just watch, it allows you to just say, okay, well, how am I just communicating with my face?
Well, right. And I think there's ways to communicate with your face that make you 10 times more interesting. So I remember hearing a story about the early days of Fox News. Okay. Like it's a big contentious, whatever. Where I'm not talking political stuff right here. I'm talking about they hired talent that people wanted to watch. Okay. Put aside all the rest of it. One of the things that Roger Ailes did, I believe, in the early days is that he would mute them when the tapes would come in and they would watch just to see if the face, how the person looked, how they presented, if it was interesting without the sound. Because it's so important.
It is
You
so
know?
important.
Do
And then
you
I
want to
think
look
you
at
could,
their face,
yeah.
basically?
And then vice versa, right? So then just to listen to somebody's voice, then you can really pick out how they're selling it. And so, hey, Meg, though, real quick, break
Yeah.
down your 3 points that you gave when you were
Okay.
talking about effective public speaking.
Okay. So I don't even remember what the hell my 3 points were. There's more than
I
3.
remember some, but I think I would do them out of order. But
Okay,
one of,
so let me just look and tell you because I can't remember what the heck I did yesterday, Erin. Maybe this is a problem. We're back to that middle age spread. However, there's so many tips I think that we can share. The first thing that I noticed with Willow is that she wasn't taking those good dramatic pauses, right? Like it was either she was running through it or she was stopping for too long. And so you all know William Shatner when he talks like this. Like that's really uncomfortable to watch, right? It's like, that's very
yes.
bizarre.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that I noticed because if you watch people try to do things on camera for the first time or make a public speech and they're trying to get their point across, they're going to pause at weird times that are not natural times.
Mhm.
And then the other thing is you have to make eye contact in those moments, like in those nice little dramatic pauses. So how do you do it, Erin? Because like if I was going to give a speech and the speech was written, I don't think about it. I don't put stars on it or anything, but I know where my points are that I want to hit. And it's in that moment that you take a pause, swallow your spit, right? And make eye contact for a second. So
Mhm.
I think those things go hand in hand. It's like taking that second to make it seem more natural.
Yeah, and I guess I've never really looked at it as where do I want to pause? To me, it was always just recognizing the fact that you need a variation of pacing, right? It
Yeah.
can't be that everything is, this tone and this pace and this is how you and I pause at every period and then I go. It's like you're going to blow through some periods, you're going to pause after some periods, and it's not like the beginning or end of a paragraph. It's going to be internal. Yeah. So I think
Yes.
that I was always very mindful of pacing and just recognizing that there are going to be some points where you're excited and you're going to talk faster and that's okay.
Well,
And
we
then you
have
can still pick
different
it up.
experiences too, I think, you and I, because a lot of mine was ad lib.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
inherently, I would have an easier time doing it more naturally and conversationally because I was having to make it up as I went along.
Mhm.
So you're going to take those natural pauses. You had a different experience of having to read something like it was natural,
And make it
right?
like a conversation. Yeah.
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 But do you know what I'm talking about when I say like the swallowing your spit thing or
Mhm.
taking a breath?
Mhm.
Because if you're not taking those natural pauses, somewhere in the paragraphs or sentences or huge diatribes that you're doing, you're not going to be able to make it through, because then you're going to have to take an unnatural pause to stop and breathe and swallow spit.
It's true. Yeah. Or when
Right?
you do notice somebody, there's a newscaster in a smaller market where she was presenting and you could hear her breathing, and it was like, so she would come to an end of a thought or sentence, and then she would, and I was like, and then it was all I could focus on. So that was,
Uh-huh.
so those tips were great. And I will answer a couple of my own questions that I get all the time on separate shorts, but
Yeah.
what should I do with my hands when public
Yes.
speaking? I feel like that's the number one question that I
Yep.
always get.
Yep.
Number two, and maybe we should just do this one now because I think you and I would be on opposite camps. How do you not be nervous? That's what everybody says. How can I feel comfortable?
Yes.
And my answer is always, it's okay to be nervous. It's okay. Just embrace it. To me, the only issue is when you're like, oh, I'm nervous and I can't be nervous. Oh, and then it just kind of ratchets up,
It
as
ratchets
opposed
up.
to I'm nervous. That's okay. It's going to give me an edge. I'm going to
Yeah.
think more clearly, but I know this stuff. So I own it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
So my cousin reached out to me actually this morning after I posted that, because she had to do an on-camera thing for her new business.
Because everything's on video these days.
Everything's on video. And she's beautiful. She's
Mhm.
brilliant. All the things. But she told me, I'm so uncomfortable on camera. And it was the same thing that I was noticing with Willow, my 10-year-old daughter who's got to give a speech. Okay. But it's just a human nature thing that for some reason, people feel ashamed or uncomfortable to communicate well. And I don't know why that is. I don't know what that is. I have felt that myself. Like when I first started in the business, I was kind of like embarrassed to tell the weather, but I was supposed to be telling the weather. Well, I don't know why it was embarrassing. So what I told her basically is like, look, everybody feels that way, but this is your opportunity to say what you want to say. And this is your chance to say it passionately. Because here's the deal. You're going to say it either way, right? She's got to make the video. Willow's got to do the speech. Regardless of how you feel inside, you're going to come out way better if you just own it and get over the fact that you've got to do it.
Mm-hmm,
Like, you know what I mean? Like you said, embrace the fact that you're embarrassed. Embrace the fact that you maybe sometimes feel ashamed about saying what it is you feel you need to say. I don't know what that is. I think we've all felt it though, but that's the thing to me. And it all kind of goes like hand in hand, because if you're feeling embarrassed, you're not going to look up as much. If you're feeling ashamed of what it is, you're not going to take those dramatic pauses because you're not feeling like owning it. You know what I mean? And then if you're embarrassed and shy about it, you're not going to say it conversationally either. And those
Right.
are the three things that are critical.
Well, and again, I think it comes down to a rule that we probably learned very early on is the only time your audience gets uncomfortable is when you're uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you can fake it, even when things go wrong, the worst thing that you can do is be like,
Or
right?
stop. Yeah, you
So
draw
that's
more
why-
attention to it.
Right. How many things went wrong with live TV? And no matter how angry or embarrassed or ashamed or whatever you felt, it would just be like, oh my, can you believe that just happened? Moving on, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then people are like,
100%.
oh, it's okay. She's not uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable. Because in small markets, when you see people or when somebody is public speaking and you see them be uncomfortable, then you're just like,
It's awful.
You can do this. You can do this.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think the thing that people forget is that we are all human. We all have those feelings. We all get uncomfortable. We all feel embarrassed. We all do that. So you kind of have to go out of body and be like, all right, I have to give the speech. I have to
That's
make
why
the video.
Beyonce has her stage name, Sasha Fierce.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you
Fake
just
it
need
till
to
you make it.
adopt, like fake it till you make it. Get out there, be fierce,
Yeah.
own it, and then
Yeah.
you can crumple when you walk off stage.
That's right. And I think though that you crumple when you walk off stage more if you give into those feelings of being embarrassed and you just kind of go up there and you give your speech and you're looking at it like this and you do a couple things like this. If you go up there or you make that video and you let it all hang out, you're not probably going to feel embarrassed at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are you're going to feel like victorious for
Mhm.
conquering like the fear and for doing it anyway,
Mhm.
kind of deal. So I don't know. The thing I told Willow was, look, Willow, you got to give your speech regardless, right? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, so go up there and do it the best you possibly can. And there is no shame in going up there and owning your material and selling it and getting the attention you deserve in that moment that you have. Like,
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
But for some reason, people get real uncomfortable about it. I don't know what that is.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think I really do look forward to breaking this down because I think there's many different things that you can do
Yeah.
to feel comfortable depending on, do you have a podium in front of you? Do you have a stick mic that you're holding? Because one of the rookie mistakes you see a lot of people do with any kind of stick mic is that they'll hold it like this, right? And it
Yes.
just looks so strange.
With
So,
the elbow up too sometimes.
yeah, it's
My
like
personal fave.
it's like a baton and you're marching. So just to even just like hold it like this
Yeah.
and at an angle because it's still going to catch your voice, then all of a
It,
sudden you are acting more relaxed and your body kind of internalizes that you are more relaxed.
yeah.
We
I
could go
mean,
on and on. I'm sure that we're going to get
I feel like this should be a series that we do of just like tips and tricks for people, because in the world that we live in now, yeah, okay, people are giving speeches, people are, having to talk to whatever, whomever it is, in meetings, board meetings, Zoom meetings, whatever. But we also live in a world where, like my cousin, she's a dentist, but she has to promote her business using video. So everybody has to be good at being on camera nowadays if you're going to optimize social media for your business or for your life. This is just
Mhm.
a giant part of it. You can't
Mhm.
ignore it, unfortunately, because it is everywhere. And I mean, how many times have you looked for a new dentist or a new doctor, and if they don't have a presence on social media, I kind of go like, you
Well,
know what I mean?
you're speaking my language right now because this is what I work on a lot right now in my new jobby job. So just listen to these stats.
Okay.
54% of consumers want to see more video content from a brand or business they support. 69% of people prefer to learn about a new product or service by watching a short video. And social video generates 1,200% more shares than text and image combined.
100%.
No, 1,200%.
1,200%.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like things have changed everywhere in our world. The way people feel about putting themselves out there is the same. Like, it's just now, instead of standing up in front of a packed auditorium and giving your speech, it's standing in front of a tiny little iPhone and saying what you
Or
need to
your
say. Like,
webcam. Yeah.
yeah, it's still, you have to feel, and that's one of those things that, you and I have talked about, like hard skills and soft skills. Um, you can communicate just by saying words, or you can communicate,
Yeah. So
and
I
you're
think
going
that
to
we
come
should
off
break this
better.
down into like little like physical how to present, how
Yeah.
should you look, what should you do with your hands, and then also like just effective communication.
Yes.
We should solicit some questions though. So if anybody has like specific questions of, yeah, hey, I had to make a quick video to drum up business for my company, or
Yeah.
I have to have a speech at even just like the local Girl Scouts club, and I don't know how to go about it. We can answer those.
It goes. I would argue it, because, for example, what if you have to have a conversation with I don't know, let's make it up, your child's coach, because you feel like they're not being treated fairly or they're not getting, okay, you're going to feel nervous about having that conversation.
No, you
You're going
are.
to feel nervous about, I would be, yeah, about communicating to that person, to your boss, if you're asking for a raise, and all these things that you have to do. This is all communication. These things that you would use to be great at presenting on a video and great at presenting in front of like a full auditorium of people is the same stuff that you would use if you're effectively arguing, I think. But to me, it's the same stuff. I mean, I hate confrontation in any way, shape, or form, but I do know how to communicate. So I think I don't go at it like angrily. I just go at it like telling a story well and hoping it goes my way.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No, this will be fun. I'm excited about this quick little pivot. We just wanted to let
Yeah.
people know that we're going to be efforting more shorts with those kind of tips and whatnot,
I think
right?
it's important. Yeah, I think that's important. And I also think like what I would like to do is when we have these big, really successful communicators on and we talk to people like Don Daler, whomever we're talking to, they have their own little tips as well. So we
Mhm.
need to be like harvesting those for people
Mhm.
because to me, I'm telling you, I got a bunch of people reaching out saying I have to give a speech tomorrow, actually, or I need to make a video tomorrow. And like, tell me that thing again. It's important. It's important stuff.
Yeah.
My friend Jen that we had on, Jen Herrera, she is working with a lot of high school kids now. And it's all about how they do their college exam interviews, or like not their college exam, but like their interviews. They're so young, right? And they're extra nervous. And so she works with them to make sure that they can communicate well and basically themselves in these interviews with these universities and colleges, because it's like a huge part of the process. So no matter who you are, you have to communicate. But Erin and I definitely have 9,750,000 different tips. And it's funny because like I really thought the tips that I shared were,
Run of the mill.
yeah, I was like, no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
Then I got people like, because I posted it somewhere and I jacked it up because I'm stuck at technology stuff, and I'll cut the last one off. I got like 4 people, wait, what was the last one I needed? And I'm like,
Mhm.
really? Oh, okay, sure.
Yay!
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Happy Friday. We got to get this posted here. It goes live here in an hour and a half. So,
Oh my God, yeah. But we need to have people ask us questions. I think that's important because we can help and we'd like to help, because I think the way it is we had great careers in a business that everybody's curious about. We've been kind of letting people behind the curtain of TV and talking about what that's like. But now I want to we can take all that experience and help people, because a lot of it is applicable to everything, as we found
Mhm.
everywhere for
Especially in our
everybody.
post-COVID world where everybody's on camera and has a webcam,
Yeah, Zoom.
and video content is increasingly important.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, it's like your job now, you know? Like
It is my literal job now.
Lance is calling me. I'm not going to
All right.
communicate
Happy
with him
Father's
right
Day,
now.
Lance.
I'm on live. Yeah, happy Father's Day on Mother's Day.
Bye, Megan. Bye, everybody.
Bye.